Hello, and future editing Daniel here. Just wanted to let you know this week's episode is going to be a little weird and out of context in a sense. We have a special guest host, Brys, who's joining to help us. But also at the end of the podcast, Daniel is going to join me and give his choices of bang for your buck. So, again, the episode's going to be a little weird, but go ahead and let's enjoy the show. And thank you for supporting Everyday Board Game. And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast. And I'm your host, Daniel. And
Brys?
wait a minute. What's going on here? So, our mutual friend Brys, that we've talked about before in the podcast, is joining me today, as this was going to be an introductory episode because he's gratefully or graciously has said that he's going to join us, not all the time, but if one of us can't show up, he'll record with the other. This way it helps us out, helps us keep making content, and it actually helps them out. So Brys, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, as you guys know, my name is Brys, or if you've seen me in the chat a couple times, True Mechadon. I'm a friend to Danny and Danny, which isn't as fun as you might think it is, but it is. But I also do TikTok videos as well for board gaming. So if you ever get a chance, go on TikTok, look me up. It's Brys Brasted, at Brys Brasted, and I do funny little skits and top 5 reviews of games that I like. So
Pretty cool. And just so everybody knows, in our podcast, we re-upload these on YouTube's as well on in the actual podcast form. So his description to his TikTok will be down below. So you can go find him and give him a follow. He's really doing us a big favor to help us out with this podcast, and it best to help him grow on his platform as well.
I'm excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
That's good to hear. So we're going to get into today. Today's topic is the best bang for your buck games. However, I have one question to ask you, Brys. What
Yes,
have you
sir.
been playing?
I've been playing a lot. We just had a nice little fun game day. So do you want me to tell you all of the ones that we played or just one at a
Just
time?
stick with 4. Yeah, we'll just go one at a time. You'll go one, I'll go one.
Okay. So I would have to say one of the games I played was Super Pinball Express. It was a lot of fun. It's a roll and write game. A lot of fun. Liked it a lot more challenging than I thought once we got playing it. So
Oh, yeah. There was a lot going on in that one. There's a lot of moving parts. I did enjoy it, though.
yeah,
So is that it?
that would
For that one?
rule. Yeah, for that one, yeah.
All right, so for my first game that we've been playing here is I got to find out my thing because I was not prepared for this to happen. Here we go. The first game I'm going to talk about on my list here is Qubitos. That was actually an interesting game that we played, John DeClaire AEG game, where it's basically a racing game where you're rolling some dice and you're using their special abilities, and the first one to finish the race wins. I thought it was interesting. It's a nice little push your luck game with once you get 3 faces, you can keep rolling, but if you get no faces, you're busted and you can't keep moving on. I enjoyed it. I don't see how people compare this to Quacks and Quedlinburg other than the fact that they're both push your lucks, but if I had to choose between the two, as much as I like John DeClaire, I am just going to go straight Quacks and Quedlinburg. I just think that one's so much cleaner and more streamlined. I did have fun with this one, though.
I mean, I could see it a little bit. I mean, it's not like apples and oranges. I mean, it's pretty close, but I guess each has like if you like chucking dice, it was a lot of fun. But I'm on board with you. I'd pick Quacks over this.
Yeah. No, it wasn't bad. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. It's very colorful. The art is amazing in this one. The dice are
Yeah,
nice, even
most
though they're
definitely.
really tiny. They're really tiny dice. I was not expecting that. I was expecting these dice in a game like Tiny Epic Galaxies or something like that. That's how
Yeah.
small they are. And then the fact that they're special dice. I can't think of the term off the top of my head right now, but like where you can only get it in this game. It's not gonna like a 1 through 6, like a D6. It's shaped like
Yeah.
one, but some of them only have one face and the rest are blank. And some of them have like feet where you can move your character, or they have their special ability face. But yeah, that specialized dice, that tiny. I mean, they were like super small. But honestly, it was actually quite fun.
Like I said, it was enjoyable. I'm glad I got to try it, but I don't think I'm going to be running out to buy it anytime soon.
All right, so your next game?
My next one is going to be Rise of Red Rising.
Mm.
Red Rising, yes. This game was so much fun. And I've read the first 3 books, and I mean, I was going through looking at all the artwork, trying to find the characters. You don't have to read the books to enjoy this game. I mean, our 2 friends that were with us, Danny, the other one, they've never read the books and they enjoyed it. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It's quick. It's a lot quicker than I was expecting it to be. So I was very impressed.
Yeah, I'll give my opinions on it maybe a little bit later. All right, so the next game on my list here that I'm going to talk about is I finally got Great Western Trail to the table. Game that's been sitting on my shelf of shame, opportunity, whatever you want to call it, for a little bit. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. There was a bit flubbing on the rules. There's a lot to remember in this game because there's one, it's really heavy in iconography, and 2, it doesn't. The rule book, you have to search for things that you're looking for. I wish the rule book was a little bit streamlined. I may actually sell this copy later down the road when the new one comes out, and I buy the new one instead because I heard the rules are a little bit more streamlined, makes a little bit more sense. So, but I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't call it
That
a
way they
worker
don't.
placement game. It was more of a worker movement game because your guy works, your cattleman working down the path, and you get to take the ability of a location or your auxiliary abilities, whatever you want to choose on that point as well. You can move so many spaces. If you unlock other stuff, move so many spaces. You want to move your train. There's just a lot going on. And so I'm constantly having to reference like the iconography and trying to go to the rule book. Okay, here's what this building means. Here's what this building means. Just give me a rule reference sheet. Give me something that just makes it, well, okay, that's what that iconography means. That's what that iconography means. However, I really did enjoy it. It played a lot longer than I wanted it to or expected it to. But again, it was also the first game of learning this game. And you're gonna make mistakes every time you play a new game. So yeah. But Great Western Trails, I'm glad I own it.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, I'll just roll right into that because that was one of the games I played, and like you said, the iconography was a little off. I mean, you always had to look stuff up and everything like that. And yeah, that artwork, they look constipated. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the
Just no
cover
beating
is
around the bush on that.
that cover is not
It's
good. And it's not just the cover. It's also the chits,
the chits, like everything, like that
the
artwork stood
engineer and
out
stuff
the
like that. Yeah.
yeah. And you're just like, okay. That's why I started calling them by the color because I was just like, here we go.
The
You
purple
want red,
or
orange,
what is it?
yeah,
What
purple,
was it the other Daniel was
orange,
saying?
and red.
The magician. He
Yeah,
started
the
calling
magician.
it.
See, so it was just one of those that like, but it was a lot of fun because I was thinking about it even after we got done playing it, about like what I would have done differently, how I would have
Mm-hmm.
played it. But I know that there is a newer version coming out, so honestly, I might even wait on that one myself. I don't
Plus, there's
know.
2 versions that gonna match that one. That's another reason why that's how much I really like the game. I want the newer version to match the 2 other games that are coming out.
Yeah, see, so it's just one of those, but I'm glad I got to play it. I can see when it came out why it was so hyped up. I know a lot of people
Yeah.
were talking about this game, so I'm glad I finally got to play it, and I kind of wish I would have played it sooner. So
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The thing about that is that was my first Alexander Pfister.
it
And
was
now
good.
I own another one of his games, Maracaibo, that's sitting on my shelf of shame. All right, so that was all right. Going on to my next game here, and that is a game that I've been wanting to look at, wanting to play. And a lot of people have said there's 2 games a lot alike that you compare them to that came out the same way. Both are deck builders and both are worker placements. The combination. I went Dune because I prefer the sci-fi theme. But the one I finally got to play this time and figure it out is Lost Ruins of Arnak. And I have to say, I really, really enjoyed that game. It's a nice combo of the deck building and worker placement. I do want, even though I won that game, I want to play it again to see how I would rank it, where I would put it. Honestly, there's not much difference between this and Dune, other than the theme and the fighting mechanism. This one's more
Yeah.
heavily on the Euro side rather on the thematic side. But again, another game that's very icon heavy and does have a lot to remember. Okay, I need this to go here, and I need to do this to do that. But it's very well produced. It's got some nice components, though. I have to say, if you got these nice plastic arrowheads and tablets and the gems, why are my coins still cardboard? Why are the compasses still cardboard? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like, I was sitting, I was like, man, they spent all this money on like these nice little plastic chits, and then they still give you the cardboard stuff. I'm like, come on now, you've already spent the money putting it in there. But no, that was a great game. Yeah, that really the biggest difference I feel is that also too in Dune, I feel like if you mess up like once or twice, that punish you is a lot. Where, and I think Arnak has a little bit more of like a give. So if you do mess up, you're not like so far behind that you're just like, okay, let's play Kingmaker here. Who can I screw over or not?
Yeah, I agree. I think a big part of that, though, is because of all the places that you could end up going. I can go here and put my worker out there and then fight this, get the resources to fight this monster or something like that. Whereas that's the fighting there. You're fighting the board game. Whereas in Dune, you're fighting each other. Though I do what I have to say about Dune is that I like the fact that you don't have to be in the battle to still be in the game. It's a good way to get victory points, but you still can do other things and get your victory points elsewhere to stay in the game. You in Ruins of Arnak, you do have to concentrate on a couple things. At least make sure you go up on the magnifying glass track and stuff like that.
The discovery track to the rune, the main rune itself.
Yeah, and the thing about that track too is I didn't have to concentrate on the book. I just had to push my magnifying glass all the way to the top. The book helped to get workers, but after I got to that second level, I was like, yeah, that's all I want. I got the workers that I want. I upgraded to both of them, so I moved my book up a little bit more. So I think I moved it 4 spots just to get my upgraded workers or helpers, and that was it. I didn't even care about the book. I got the magnifying glass all the way to the top. That helped me a lot because there's 23 points, the first one there.
Yeah, that I agree with you. That does make it a little bit of a difference. And if you even look at the rule scale, or not the rule scales, the points that you get, the book doesn't give you that many points the further you go up. It's that magnifying, discovering the stuff is what gives you the points. So
yeah, no, but I enjoyed it. So that's the Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Nice. All right. Well, so my last game is going to be Marvel United. I finally just got all my Kickstarter in, and I know the new X-Men one is coming. Is already like you can pledge for it right now. But now I'm excited that I got all this stuff. I know for as light of a game as it is, there's a lot of cool heavy stuff. I still played the base game. I haven't touched any of the expansions. The first expansion I definitely want to try is the Infinity Gauntlet. That one looks the coolest out of all of them. So, but just played the base game. It's a lot of fun. It's quick and easy. I kind of wish I would have bought the playmat, but I'll get that with this new Kickstarter coming out. So
nice. So I am in on the X-Men one. I do really enjoy X-Men more than some of the other Marvel stuff. And when they were like, okay, I didn't even go into the Marvel United because I was like, it looked too kiddish with the chibis and stuff like that. And then a friend of mine got a copy of it for his birthday. So we played his copy and I'm like, wow, this is a lot better than I expected it to be. So much better that I'm like, I'm not kicking myself for not getting that one. But when they said, oh, by the way, the next one is going to be X-Men, I'm like, great. You're bringing my favorite Marvel comics into a game that I've already found out that I really like. You suck, Simon.
And it's one of those, it's Simon, but I was really hoping that they weren't going to go so big and elaborate like they did with the first one. Like
I told you it's Simon. That was going to happen.
I know.
I told you.
I know, but still, I'm just like, oh, why?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'm going to be able to back as much in this one as I did in the first one. So we'll see. But again, if you're getting the X-Men one, I mean, I can always try out some of the ones that you have, but definitely I'll be picking up the base game and I'll be picking up the mat. So
And the thing about it too is that they're coming up with some of the most obscure characters that I love. Like you got Pixie coming in, and then you
yeah,
got
that is
X-Men
true.
90 with Jubilee coming in, and the 90s Rogue rather than the Rogue that you see in the movies and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that fact because that's when I really got into X-Men, and they're bringing like the blue and gold teams. I used to collect those toys. So yeah, no, I agree. It looks fun.
Yeah, no, see, I used to collect the trading cards that they had for X-Men, and that was like the X-Men, the Fox X-Men. That was what I grew up with. So that is Gambit, Wolverine,
Yeah,
Cyclops.
yeah, yeah.
So I will probably
What is
will
it? X-Men
be
92, I think it's what it that time
yeah,
frame
something
is what
like
it's
that.
called. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
X-Men
my era as
92.
well.
Yeah. So that's the
So
one that I'm really excited about.
so speaking of the trading cards, and before we get into my last game, I used to collect the toys, the X-Men action figures. They used to
Mhm.
come with like these beautiful trading cards in the game itself. So I had a massive collection of them, and I sold them a long time ago, and I regret it now because they were some of the most beautiful cards out there.
See, and I tried finding my old trading cards just because I was like, man, like they had like Halloween specials, they had all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, man, I would like to like see that again and look at them. I can only find some of the old ones, so
Yeah.
I have to go dig a little deep in my parents' basement see if I can't find them.
Yeah, no, I sold mine. A lot of it had to do with like sports stuff that I had to buy like new bats and gear. So, hey, I got good money for it and was able to buy stuff
Yeah,
for sports, and that's what I was into at the time. So now I'm kicking myself for it because I'm suffering all the injuries from that time now. But yeah, at the time it made sense. So finally, my last game, you mentioned it earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into it now, and that is Red Rising. What can I say that you didn't already? It's one of the most beautiful games that Stonemeyer has produced. The art on this is
yeah,
amazing. And if you jumped on the chance to get the pre-order collector's edition, wow, everything's metal in there. So your player cubes are metal. Well, almost everything's metal. The player cubes, the moon, the sovereign token, all metal. You have this big chunky dice that you roll for certain experiences as well. Really nice. Oh my god, this game was amazing. And easily probably up there on my list of favorite Stonemeyer games. Out of all the ones I played this once, and I'm like, this is so quick. There's a lot of heavy reading on it, and you're trying to figure out what you're doing. But even if you don't know what you're doing, you still compete in this game because it's so many points. Oh, that guy's got a high point
yeah.
total, and I got to make sure he comes with this guy to get more bonuses. Ah, yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, Red Rising knocked it out of the park. Another one by Stonemeyer Games.
Yeah. And they always do such great things. I mean, there hasn't been a game that they've made that I haven't wanted to either own or play. So
To this point, I almost own every single Stonemeyer game but two that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm missing My Little Scythe, and I'm missing Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I have
yeah.
Between Two Cities, a gift to the show from Jamie Stegmaier. I have Wingspan, of course, and some of the other games out there. But yeah, I think those are the only two I'm missing is My Little Scythe and no, Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And I
So
haven't hated any of them, though Euphoria is still sitting on my shelf of shame.
yeah, I want to try that one. That because I know that's one of his like first games, isn't it?
I think that is his first game. Because it was that one, and then Viticulture came out, and that was the one that kind of put Stonemeyer on the map. And then he followed that up with Scythe.
Scythe. Yeah. See, Scythe is when I got into it. So
Which is interesting because Scythe was his last Kickstarter as well. And everything
mhm.
else is that he's been producing himself. And they've done a phenomenal job. The fact that I got this collector's edition quality and it not being a Kickstarter, this
Yeah.
looks like a
It,
Kickstarter game.
yeah. No, it really does. And it like it's got the trays, it has the insert, it has the bits and pieces, like the foil
The
cards
gold
with the gold.
foil, yeah.
I mean, it was like I said, it's the most beautiful thing produced I've seen in the last couple of games that I've purchased. Like it's and that's including some of the Kickstarters that I've gotten in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. But I'm like, and they put some love into this.
Yeah, no, they done it was a really good job. But with that being
So
said, you ready to get into this?
yes, sir.
All right. So once again, our topic is best bang for your buck. And now we left this vague. for however you want to put your games down. You want to make it where you get a lot of game for a really cheap price, or you get a lot of game even if it's a little bit pricey. It's up to you. It's up to whatever your interpretation of bang for your buck is. And so we asked this on Board Game Revolution's community on Facebook to the audience. We only got one reference to it, but I'm going to go ahead and read it out real quick. And this is from Josiah. And he says, in terms of regularly priced retail games, the actual answer is pretty boring. A deck of playing cards. You can get a deck of cards for as low as $1, and there are countless games you can play with a deck of cards, some of which are actually fun. In the modern gaming world, Star Realms at under $20, there's enough variety in this deck builder to provide countless hours of entertainment for two without ever buying any of the expansions. Many of the tiny epic games fit this as well, with small retail prices compared to how much games there is. I've heard great things about galaxies, and I'm particularly fond of zombies. One Night Werewolf, Coup, Resistance, Avalon, etc. are all great if you play with a lot of people. They're light and super easy to explain, which makes them playable as party games with less serious gamers and intoxicated people, while offering more replayability than many of the Cards Against Humanity model games, while also maintaining a low price point with most retailing for under $30. As a slight deviation from board games, many smaller press RPGs can offer a lot of bang for your buck. Don't get me wrong, D&D and Pathfinder Star Wars are great games, but they're kind of pricey. Many of the Powered by the Apocalypse games are great for this one $20 to $40 book and a couple of D6s being all you need to play. I'm particularly fond of Monster of the Week, which retails at $25 or $30 and is a great RPG to just pick up and play if you have a group that likes things like Buffy, Supernatural, Dresden Files, and X-Files, etc. So thank you, Josiah. That was a very thought out answer to our question.
That was pretty good.
So let me ask you this before we get really into our games and what we're going to decide. What did you use? What were your criterias for making your list?
Honestly, it was different. I did a couple games that I thought like how much I spent on it versus how much I played it gave me that bang for your buck. There's a couple in here that, even though I haven't played them a lot, just owning the base game can give you hours of entertainment without having to go buy expansions or anything like this. But that's kind of what I was just looking at, like at my games and kind of going from what I like to play the most versus like what, how much have I actually spent on this to qualify it for that? If that makes sense. Like it's kind of a mixture of both. So.
And for myself, I went ahead and went a little bit of both routes. I try to keep it at a low price point with a lot of game in it. It's funny, as I was making this list, I didn't even realize a lot of the games that I came up with were card games. So I'm going through this list, and I'm like, okay, interesting. Yeah, I can see that, and I can see that. So I meant more for the price point, like for me personally, a big game that comes at a low price point. Of course, a lot of people are going to be like, well, so then Horrified's on your list. Actually, no. As much as I like Horrified, I wanted to put something new on here, and we'll get to it when I get to that point. But yeah, Horrified is a good game for bang for your buck. There's a lot in it. There's a lot of variability. There's some good pieces component-wise, and it's only like $35 at Target, and sometimes you can catch it on a deal for under 20. Like Amazon will sell it sometimes under 20. But in all honesty, I wanted to talk some different things. Now, don't get me wrong. I've talked about a lot of these games beforehand. So
No, and don't get me wrong, because I actually just did a TikTok on my top 5 co-op games, and I had Horrified and Back to the Future. And someone asked me, what would you pick out of those two? And I said, I'd pick Horrified. Like, I'm a huge Back to the Future fan.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. But I would pick Horrified over Back to the Future, because Back to the Future, no matter how you play it, you're always doing the same thing. At least with Horrified, you have so many different monsters. It gives you a lot of variety in that capability. So I told him, I was like,
yeah, no, I agree with you. And I was going to just say another big part of it too, for me, is like, I would choose Horrified over Back to the Future, is because most of the stuff that you're doing in Horrified is your choices. It's your decisions to make. You can play perfect in Back to the Future and still lose the game because of the dice rolls.
This is true. That's very true. I mean, I like chucking dice, so
Oh, don't get me wrong. I enjoy chucking dice too. It's just Horrified gives you more of that variability, and you could play perfect and win the game. Back to the Future, you could play perfect and still lose the game by a lot.
yeah. So
All right, since you are new to the show, and usually we do the dice or the coin of doom to decide who's going to go first. Well, I don't have a coin in for me, so since you're the guest, I will let you go ahead and start us off.
man, I wanted the coin of doom. All right, I'll start it off. So my first game is
No,
going
see,
to be
I got the cup of doom. Danny has the coin of doom.
the coin of doom. Oh, okay, noted. My first game is going to be Tumbling Dice. Now, this game, if you go and buy it, it can be pretty expensive. I think
Yeah.
it's like 70 to 80 bucks.
Though, if you
But
go and buy it, it's got the board that actually shifts, so that's kind of nice where it
yeah,
compacts down. So
I mean that is nice. But for me, I can't tell you how many times I've busted this out with friends or family. I mean, I have family members that don't like playing board games, but they will put money on this game playing it. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's one of those like.
hold on real quick. We're having some technical
But I
difficulties at the moment. Give me a
one
sec.
game kicks our butt sometime.
Hold up, Bryce. We were having some
you're
technical
good.
difficulties. Go ahead and restart that after what you were saying about your family putting money on it.
Okay. So, I mean, we spend countless hours on this. I mean, it's something that my son can play, and he plays really well to the point where he's beat us a couple times. I have like my parents and in-laws wanting to play it. If I have friends over and we're having just a couple beers and relaxing, it's something you can play no matter what. You can take it with you camping if you want to, but it's honestly the best bang for your buck that I could think of. I mean, all the other stuff on my game, yeah, they're great, but this one, it is so universal, it's not even funny.
I can't disagree with you on that one. It didn't make my list, but yeah, I get so much fun of it. In fact, I'm looking at the board you made me over here. I have it in my closet where I record. I really enjoy it. I bust it out when we have like parties. I got family members who can play it. I got friends who are not big in gaming. They can play it as well and have a good time with it. And I gotta say, it's one of the best drinking games. If you partake in alcoholic beverages and you just want to hang out and talk with your friends, flick a couple dice. And we've shared this before, me and Daniel, uh, about Tumbling Dice. We played a giant version of this at a local con in El Paso, where it was like I want to say plywood, but like wall boards. Forget what they're called. Sheetrock. They made like a sheetrock and some pegs, and they have these inflatable dice, and you're just chucking them over your head to try to get them the best roll and stuff like that on the thing. It was so fun. I have to say, Tumbling Dice is a good pick. All right, so my first pick is my obligatory Tiny Epic game on this list because honestly, any of the Tiny Epics, you're going to get your bang for the buck. They're a $25 or so price point, 40 if you get the expansion that comes with the Kickstarter and all this and that. But you get a lot of game for a good price point. But my pick is Tiny Epic Quest. That is my personal favorite of the Tiny Epic series. I really enjoy the push your luck aspect of it when you're delving into the cellars or the ruins, I think is what it's called. As well as I know a lot of people don't like the movement. I love the movement on here. I'm going to go around the board or in a straight line or diagonally. And so I really enjoy all that. And the best part about Tiny Epic Quest, this is the first game where the meeples actually hold items. That is amazing.
That I remember when that came out, and there was, oh my god, that's really cool. Man, my first thought was like, I'm gonna lose that stuff. I already know it. I don't get me wrong, I have it, but it's a good pick. It's one of those that like I completely when I was making this list, I completely forgot about my tiny epics. And because I mean, and they really are. They are a great little like buy this, you get a great game out of it. So
yeah, and I think Quest is the one. Galaxy's right up there, but I think Quest is the one where you really get your bang for the buck because it's got all these cards that you put out in a grid, and then you have all these meeples and all these like meeple items that you can put into your meeple. So like if you got a sword and a staff or a lantern and a shield, it just makes really a lot of sense the way this game plays. So yeah, Tiny Epic Quest is my number 8.
yeah, see, Planets got me into Tiny Epic. Quest is what kept me there and wanted me to keep buying more games from them. So,
And then I only own this one. This is the only Tiny Epic I got because between you and our mutual friend Dom and Danny, all of you have the Tiny Epic. So
yeah.
there's only one other one that I bought, and that's the Tiny Epic Dungeon. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right. So my next one is, and you could maybe say there's a little bit of a theme with some of the stuff I have. It is another party game, but it's Cash and Guns. Cash and Guns, the base game. You get foam guns, and I mean, it's amazing. Like it's a game that I know we got it. I mean, how many times did you play it with me? We played this game a lot.
It got to the point where we only shot each other.
Yeah. Like we were just like, let's just shoot people, like, or we did it random, like just take your hand, shuffle it up at random, and we'll just play it
Yeah,
random.
it'd be
But
like, hey, and you would always point at me, and I'd always point at you, and it'd be like, I don't know what it is. We're playing Russian roulette over here.
Yep, we're just doing this. Let's see what happens. But I mean, it is a great game, and it's again something that you can sit there, have a couple friends over. Again, I've gotten a couple of I have had my in-laws play this with us, and again, they're not very big board gamers, but they love this. And the hours I've gotten out of this game, especially at a game that's like what I think it's like $40 for the game. I mean, it's been well worth its weight in gold. So
yeah, no, I can't disagree with you on that one. So that was his pick, Cash and Guns. All right, moving on to my number 7 pick, and I lent you a copy of this. I don't know if you played it yet, but this is the adventure card game by Cosmos Games. This is
I haven't. It's sitting right there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is the one by Phil Walker Harding and Matthew Dunstan. The one that you have, I believe, is the Dungeon. The one I prefer is Monochrome Inc. And right now I'm in the middle of the Volcano. But I think they're really well-produced games, a lot of cards, and you have like little standees as you're searching and stuff like that. But there is so much. For a campaign game, this is what it is. You play it over 3 to 4 stories, depending on which one you have. And it plays so well that it's, if you remember the old computer games like Myst, the point and click, oh, I'm going to go look at this. Oh, I find a key. Oh, I got this block that I could put with this stick and I can make my makeshift hammer or something like that. That it's done so well in a board game format. I never thought those kind of games would translate well into board game format. Oh, Phil Walker Harding has found his way to do it, and it's such an amazing game. I talk about these a lot. And again, it's a campaign game with really decent components that you can get for $20 or less.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I still haven't played the one that you let me borrow. Now the way you're talking about though, it makes me. I might try it this week. So.
Oh no, it's really good. Yeah, no, I played through it, so I don't really need it back at this point in time. So you can keep it as long as you need to try it because it's that good. It's like one of those escape room games, but this one you can actually share with friends. You just reset it and give it to them and let them make their decisions with it.
Nice. That might be like a nice little date night with the wife and I. So
yeah. And so
all right. So my next one is going to be, I swear this is the last party game on here, but again, for what you get for it, Sushi Go Party. And it has to be the party. Like, don't get me wrong, Sushi Go is great, but you're seeing the same stuff over again. Sushi Go Party gives you a couple extra people to play with, and it gives you all these different things so you can adjust what they call the menu of what you can order. And it is, I mean, again, I play this a lot. And if you want to get some of your friends that aren't gamers into gaming, it's a good like gateway game because it's drafting at its finest. It's just quick, simple, fun. My wife loves it because it's got the cute little chibi sushi characters on there. But what's nice is that you can play the base game and then they already had all this extra stuff added onto it. It's an amazing game. So
all right, so I'm just going to do the math here real quick. That's our first Game Right game on the list, which is interesting because Danny is the one that always put Game Right games on the list, so it's fitting that you have one on there. And that's our second Phil Walker Harding game on the list because the one I just mentioned was Phil Walker. All right, so
It's fun. I mean, you played it. I mean,
Oh yeah. I own actually the smaller copy. I have it in I have the tin behind me because I put it in the photograph box.
yeah,
I keep that one just because it's so easy portable. I could just bust it out and just play the base game. I don't play it nearly as often as you do, so I don't really bust it out all that much. So I'm fine with just having the small one. But my number 6 is, oh look, another card game. And this one is actually my favorite escape room style game, and this is the Unlock series. And the reason why I put this one on Bang for Your Buck list is you can get one puzzle sometimes, and it's $15. Or you could buy the multi-pack that has 3 different games in there, including the most recent one of the more recent ones is a Star Wars version of it. And you could get those for $40. And this pick is Unlocked, the escape room card game series.
yeah.
I really, really dig this series. I've had so much fun playing it. I've had issues with a couple or that I've played, like haven't played this one all the way through, but I know some of it. The pirate one, or the one where you're lost on an island where you split the party, so there's 2 different escapes going on. That doesn't intrigue me all that much, even though I own it. The other one is there were some issues with the Under the Sea one. I can't remember exactly what that one's called, but some of the puzzles didn't line up right. But all in all, every game I've played of this one, I've really enjoyed, had a good time with it. I've had a little bit of flaws with it. And it really helps that it's app integrated too. So the app helps you out a lot going through that stuff instead of having to do the back of the book. So Unlocked by Space Cowboys, I think, is one of the best series for escape room games that you can actually, once you're done with it, lend it to someone else and let them have some fun with it. That's why I prefer it over like the Exit series, because you tear
Yeah.
up that stuff and you can't share it.
That's right. That's right. I was like, I know there's one that you have to tear up or it's unplayable afterwards because you do
Yeah.
something to it. But I remember playing that. I think when the very first series came out, we were at Angel Maria's, and that was a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So,
And that's why
all
it's my
right.
number 6, because you do get a good bang for your buck for it.
So my next one is going to be Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle. Um, the reason I picked this one is it's kind of like a small campaign-ish game, which gives you multiple hours of play on it. Once you open that box up, you kind of have like your base set of cards, everything like that. But it's all inside. There's 7 boxes for each book. So
Mm-hmm.
book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, all the way to 7. And every time you open up a new book, it's adding more theme. Or I shouldn't say theme, but it's adding more into that deck builder game, giving you a little bit different components. And
And your characters are
it's
growing up.
yeah, your characters actually grow, which is really cool to see. I know when we first got into that, I think we're on book 3, and you switch your character card from the what it looked like in the first book, and they were kind of up a little bit grown up. Now, like, oh, that's kind of cool to see. You got
Mm-hmm.
different spells, different characters are now showing up. But it all in all, it's amazing how they did it. And I think for bang for your buck, especially if you're a Harry Potter nut, it's a great one to go with. It's a great family game too.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that one. I've really enjoyed it. I've played all the way through the 7 books. I have the expansion, the Monster Book of Monsters. I highly recommend you getting the Potions and Charms expansion before you get the Monster Books of Monsters expansion, because I haven't got the new one yet. But the Charms and Potions, there's stuff that happens in that one that will help you beat Monster Books of Monsters. So I've played the
Oh,
Monster
really?
Book of Monsters, and I've only beaten the first book of it, and I've played 7 times in that expansion, and 4 of those times it took me the 4th try to beat the first book, and I still haven't beat the second book, to the point where it got put away for the time being.
Really? See, I bought the Monster Book of Monsters because it was on sale. I still haven't because I think we're only on book 4. We haven't gotten very far in it. Um, so I'm glad that you told me that. So as soon as we finish with book 7, I'll go look for the
Go for the
potions one
Charms and
first.
Potions expansion. Yeah, it's
Okay.
gonna make it much easier, because yeah, it's difficult. I mean, we get our butt handed to us every time we try to play it, just because of the way things are stacking up, and how, because um the way the game works, it ramps up. So when you're first playing it, you get 1 bad guy out at a time, and then certain things happens, and then you get 2, and then eventually you get 3. In this one, it starts you out with 3, and you have all like these big bads that are coming out, plus the creatures that you have to fight in a different way. So you got to use coins instead of lightning, and it's just, yeah.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like I said, that's one I definitely want to try to get back to the table with the wife, because that's who it was playing, is me and my wife. But try to get that back so we can. I want to see what happens all the way to book 7 with it. I mean,
Oh, the
everybody
base
says
game
it's
is
such a great.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
that
so
expansion kicks your butt.
but again, and that's why I picked it for bang for your buck, because like I said, there's a lot in there.
And just on the
With
base
those,
game, yeah.
Yeah. So
now there are some issues with the rules, like the way the library works, that you can't really wipe it, that they fixed in the Toy Story and stuff like that. So we do play with a house rule that you can spend 2 coins to wipe the cards, basically the bank,
the spell
where you
book or
can
whatever.
yeah. So you can wipe it this way. You can actually get like lower price cards in the early part of the game and stuff like that.
That's good. I'll have to remember that, because that's always is something you run into. You're like, man, there's like all these high cards that you're like, oh man, I want that card, but I don't have the money.
I can't
At the
afford
beginning
it.
of the game, I can't afford it yet.
And then at some points in the game, it's like there's no point in holding on to this money because I'm about to get stunned. So
Yeah.
So
I'll have to play that.
That's a good pick,
That's
though. I agree with you on that one. Didn't make my list, but no, I agree. That's a great game. It's probably because I didn't think of it. That's the issue.
Well, I didn't think of the tiny epics, and I have all of them. So
all right. So my number 5 game is another card game, but it's also another Phil Walker Harding game. So this is the 3rd time he's made the appearance on here, and this is Archaeology: The New Expedition. This is by far one of the best card games out there, especially at its price point. You can get it for under $20. As I mentioned earlier, it's Phil Walker Harding. It's some really nice cards that has variable monuments that have where it changes. So you have like the pyramid, or you have like a desert ruin, or the Sphinx, and it has a different setup every time you play it because of those. And it's my go-to filler game, in all honesty. There's one other one that I'll talk about a little later that is my go-to filler game, but this is right up there. And that's Archaeology: The New Expedition. It's the desert game where you're playing out like things in front of you, building a tableau of points, kind of like Rummy.
Oh yeah. We played this one time, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, dang, I completely forgot about that. And I've been wanting to get it too. It's on my wish list. I completely forgot about this because you showed me cartographers, and then this cartographers kind of blew it.
Honestly, cartographers didn't make my list just because none of the rolling rights really made my list.
Yeah, they don't really. To me, I don't think they
give you that depth. As much as I love cartographers, don't get me wrong. Cartographers is like one of my favorite games that I've played within the last year, but it doesn't give you that bang.
If I did have to put a rolling right on here, honestly, to me, it would have been Quicks, but that's for a different conversation.
Speaking of game right, but mine would be cartographers if I put a rolling right on here.
Yeah, but all right. So then mine next game is going to be Chronicles of Crime. And the reason being, this is as close to a video game as I think you could get, in the sense that with your base game, they give you some very generic people and cards and everything like that. And when you get on the app, that's what makes the story. So you go on, you're going to have different locations, and you're trying to figure out a crime. And you go, and like, this character on this scenario could be the bad guy, but in the next scenario, he could be somebody else. And you could go in and buy expansions just on the app alone. So then that way you can keep playing with just the base game itself. I know Chronicles of Crime has come out with, like, they had the base game, 2 expansions with that, and then they just came out with their whole 1900 series. But that base game alone had several hours of fun and entertainment. So if you like that mystery game, it's definitely something I'd pick up.
No, it's a good game. I don't own it, and again, it's one of those things because I'm trying to limit, and we talked about it when I did we did our gaming goals, is try to limit what I buy, especially if it's other people in my group have it. And so this is one that I won't pick up because I get to play your copy whenever I need to.
Yeah.
And so Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. That's a great pick. So my number 4, I don't know if you've actually played this one. This is probably jumped up to my favorite trick-taking game. And it's another one that has a really low price point, but it's also a Kennerspiel winner. And that is
I
The
think I know what it
Crew,
is.
Quest for
Yep.
Planet 9.
Yeah, I knew it. As soon as you said it was a trick taking game, I was like, well, the only other trick taking game he's played that I played with him is Fox in the Forest. So I was like, it's got to be The Crew. That's exactly what it's got to be.
Yeah.
And no, I
So
haven't played it.
yeah, so I'm gonna have to show this one to you. I just don't like playing it with 2 players because it has like a dummy player type thing, and that annoys me.
Yeah.
That's the same reason why I don't like Seven Wonders at 2 players, to the point where they had to make a whole new game to fix that. So, but for The Crew, the Quest for Planet 9 is probably my favorite trick-taking game out there. It's one of my favorite card games. Yes, another card game, but honestly, card games are where you're going to get a lot of your bang for your buck if you want to go for like a cheap price point. And this is one that deserves to be on this list because you get a lot. First off, just out of the base game, you get 50 campaigns that you got to do, and it's different variations of how you're basically feeding tricks. It's not very thematic, it's more mechanistic than anything. But the fact of the matter is you're sitting there and you're like, okay, well, Brys over there needs to get this 2 green. I got to make sure I don't win that trick because I got a 9 green on here. So if I see that 2 out there, hopefully I have another green to let it go to Brys over there. So Brys played an 8 green. So I'm going to go ahead and play my 4 green. This way he wins the trick and gets that 2, because that's one of the best things, is that you're trying to feed it. There's no communication. I can't tell you what's in my hand except for one point. You have this one card that you could take up into your hand that fills a space. You put a card down on the table to replace the moon card or whatever it is. And what happens is, if you put your little character on your card, you put it on the top, that means that's the highest card you have in that color. If you put it at the bottom, that means that's your lowest card at that color. Or if you put it in the middle, that's your only card of that color. But you only get to use this once per campaign or round or game, because you can play like 3 or 4 campaign parts of it as you're going through the story. And it changes with that aspect as well. So the first one is like, okay, we just need to make sure we get this trick to this person. And the second campaign is we need to get this trick to him, this trick to him. I can't take a trick. And then it changes where like one person can't take a trick at all, or we have to feed this one to this person at 1, 2, 3. Then they got to take a second trick or the final trick, or however, there's different ways it varies and changes. And it's just so phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I've actually had a couple of my followers tell me that I need to try this game or pick it up because it's an amazing game. So you're definitely gonna have to teach it to me. So
Yeah, and what else is cool about this one is, if you don't like the space theme, try the underwater theme one, because that's coming out, and that's The Crew Under Seas or something like that.
yeah, I saw the announcement for that. It looks kind of cool.
Yeah, to the point where it proves it's more mechanistic than it is thematic.
Thematic. All right. So my next game is going to be, and it's just one that I recently just played and picked up instantly because I loved it. Was Quacks of Quedlingberg. I picked that up, and the reason I say that this has the bang for your buck, unlike games like Splendor and stuff where you're just kind of always doing the same thing over and over again, the Quacks of Quedlingberg, you have all these different colors to do your bag building and stuff like that, but they have different books, so it gives you some variety. So what, like green can do something this time, but on the next game it could be doing something completely different. So that's why I like it, and I want to get those pieces from the, what is it, BGG?
BGG store, I think they just got the new ones in, or they're coming in.
Don't
I just got the BGG store update.
don't tell me that, because I have a Kickstarter I got to back right now, and I don't need to be spending money on that game. So,
Just thought
but
I'd
no,
let you know.
I know, and it's one of those that after Danny showed it to me, I fell in love with it and I bought it the next day. It was such an amazing game. But really, that is definitely a game bang for your buck right there.
I don't disagree with you. I really enjoy that game, and that's one that's really, really tempting me when it comes to trying to break my rule of owning games that other people own. Twilight Imperium is one of them. I really wanted that game after we played it. But this one is like, you have it. Daniel has it. I believe Dom has it as well. So it's like, do I really need a copy? But I'm like, but it's so good.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. I think, see, this is because I'm in the same boat with you. Like, if someone owns a game that I would want, almost like, honestly, like, I could probably get rid of Wingspan because you have it. It's not very popular in my house. But I think Quacks would go over great with Kalissa. I think if you had friends over, you could still play it. I mean, because I think Angel and Maria would like that as well. I think it'd be a game that they would dig as well.
Yeah.
And for me, that's how the reason why I justified getting it. Because you're right, they both have it, but my wife loves it. Like, we've played that thing 3 times since I bought it. We've played it with friends now that come over and play games with us. So
Yeah. With my wife, yeah, she likes it, but we just restarted Gloomhaven. Honestly, we
that's
just
true.
decided to break down after playing Jaws of the Lion. She's like, oh, okay, I want to keep going. So we just reset Gloomhaven and started playing it again, and that's been our date night game, and it's gone
Yeah, there you
phenomenal.
go. If you want to have a date night game, that's the one to do, ladies and gentlemen. That's the game right there. That's the dream.
Yeah. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Well, it's weird. My wife likes those really thinky games, and it's
Yeah,
like,
she does.
okay, so you
And
pick
she kicks our
the
butt every
biggest
time.
one I own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Works for
No,
me because it's my favorite game. So getting to play it again is making me happy.
man, I'm so mad. I wish I would have done the coins. After seeing them, I'm
Oh,
like, man,
my
I wish
coins are going to come with Frosthaven, and I think you can get the coins soon on Cellofair, the website itself. I think he's going to be selling them.
when they do, I'm doing it.
Also, am I,
Because
because I'm going to get me a second copy for my Gloomhaven.
yeah. So
All right, so my third game, since we're getting a little off track here,
yeah, sorry.
No, that's fine. We do it all the time. My third game on my list is the second game on this list, but it's not a Phil Walker Harding. This one is my go-to filler game that I've had the most fun with, and this is the best family-friendly game on my list, and that is Dragonwood.
Oh dang, I was gonna say Abandon All Artichokes.
No, that's a great one, but I don't own that one. I have a great time with Men and All Artichokes, but Dragonwood is just like my go-to game.
I forgot
And
that Dragonwood was one of those.
yeah, and then honestly, really, like as I said earlier when you talked about Sushi Go, most game right games are going to give you the most bang for your buck. Ban All Artichoke is like a $10 game, really good card game. Trash Pandas, another phenomenal fun game to play with families, $10. So you get really a lot of bang for your buck. This one is on the higher end for game right games. It's $20. And you can honestly go with like Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island as well. Those are really great games, but I went with this one because it gives you a lot of choices of who you play with. You could play this with kids. All they got to do is know they have to like number sets or color sets, learn their numbers and colors and stuff like that. And you could play it real easily. You're just rolling some dice. If you play, let's say I play 1, 2, 3, I get to roll 3 dice. And I'm striking at a thing. So if I beat the number on the card, I get the card and it's in my victory pile, or I get to use it as a special power, depending on what you want to do. It's really easy to teach. It's really easy to learn. It's got amazing artwork for what it is, and the custom dice are just fun. It's 2 blanks, and it's 1, 2, 3, and you're just trying to surpass what it's on there. And honestly, it's a very well produced game at a very nice price point that won't break the bank. In all honesty, you look at something like Gloomhaven, that's $140 MSRP. I could still have a great time with a $20 game.
Yeah. No, that is probably my wife's favorite game right there. Like if she's like if we were like a quick game or something, that's the one she's gonna pick if I ask her what game you want to play. So I totally agree with you. Everything's amazing on that, and it's a great bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now I have a caveat on my next one. I know coming onto this podcast, they already had they're never gonna pick this game again because it's like meta of meta games, but I still put it on here, and that's Gloomhaven. Honestly, I bought it when it was $100. I know it might be a little bit more expensive now. I think you just said like 140
Well,
MSRP.
if you got it through the Kickstarter, it was $100. You got a discount through the Kickstarter.
Okay.
MSRP buying in the store, it's $140. But here's the difference: it's the exact same game, so nothing changes between the Kickstarter and the base game. It's just a
Yeah.
little higher price point.
But the hours that you could potentially play in this, I mean, if you
Mm-hmm.
break it down, even at I'm just gonna break it at $100, it's 100 game hours. That's $1 an hour you spent on something. I mean, there's nothing else I think you can do that with. In all honesty, there's no other game that will do this unless you go into like a video game of some sort. But that just like it is, and they've made a
Yeah.
video game out of this now too because it's so good. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that with you guys it's off the list, but this I think it had to be said for best dollar bang for your buck. It's D&D in a box. You can't beat
Oh
that.
yeah, no, I don't
So
disagree with you. In all honesty, the whole no longer in our picks, we can still pick it for this format, like if we're gonna talk about it, but it's no longer on our list when it comes to the top 8 debate part of it because it
okay,
won the 1 year anniversary.
first three.
So it
Okay,
won. I can actually look up the statistics right now. Gloomhaven won a total of 4 top 8 debates, including the overall champion for our first year. I have the
that's
statistics
how
all
good
written
it is,
down right
people.
here.
That's how good it is. If you don't
No,
have it,
it's an amazing game.
if you don't have it, pick up Jaws of the Lion first.
Yeah, no.
Make that your test run. But if you like
Honestly,
it,
that should have been your bang for your buck because honestly, it has the
yeah.
best onboarding. It has the best way to teach the game. Well, onboarding, teaching the game. And I
Okay,
have
we're
to
gonna
say, after
rewind this,
going
and we'll
for,
just say,
and after playing Jaws of the Lion, as much as I love going back to Gloomhaven, it's sometimes a chore to set up those tiles where Jaws of the Lion is just, oh look, there's our there's our board.
there's the board. It's done. Yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, we'll rewind this, and we're just gonna say Jaws of the Lion, Gloomhaven. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, but I mean, you actually got me Jaws of the Lion for my birthday.
Birthday,
Was
yeah.
birthday? Okay, I know it was a gift from you, and I started playing it solo, and I just instantly fell in love. Like I played Gloomhaven a couple times, but I'm glad this came out. I wish it would have come out first because
Mm.
then I would have been just like, okay, we're done with this. Let's go into Gloomhaven. But I'm now looking forward to actually playing this and not just like a quick scenario here, like actually playing the campaign.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, we're real. It's funny because, like I said, we restarted the Gloomhaven campaign, and I've already seen more things new than I played in the last one. Like new things opened up for us, or we've made a different choice, and so something else opened up for us. And I've had a really good time playing it again with the wife. It makes a great time for us. So I don't disagree with you. I didn't put it on my list for 2 reasons. One, I talk about Gloomhaven and Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion a lot. If you've listened to any of our past
yeah.
podcasts, I probably mentioned it once or twice an episode. So I'm trying to cut back on it. This way I can give people more decisions, different games and stuff like that. But I do have to say, it is a phenomenal game, and I agree with your pick.
See, I just want to make sure I got that itch for you, that scratch that itch. Like you can't talk about it, but I'll do it for you.
So my number 2 is we were talking about Prospero Hall earlier when we are talking about Back to the Future and Horrified and stuff like that. Well, this is a Prospero Hall game that I think actually gives you a really good bang for your buck, especially when it comes to the production value for how cheap it is. And as you can see behind me, I like skirmisher games right over there and right there and behind my head, and that is Unmatched. Well, they have their own skirmisher game that really has a good price point, and that is $35 or so, and that is Godzilla Tokyo Clash.
Ah, dang it. I was about to drop the pin like, ladies and gentlemen, and he just did a Funko Pop game, but it wasn't Funko Pop.
Oh, no. I honestly, if I was we did a comparison of those two, I would pick Unmatched over Funko
Nah,
Verse, but
I
Godzilla
know.
Tokyo Clash Skirmisher, it comes with 4 kaijus in the box. Honestly, you like King of Tokyo, you like Godzilla, King of Monsters, or whatnot. This is the game for you because it's not just a skirmisher. You get to take control of Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and I can't remember what the cockroach's name is. But you get to play those 4. And what's cool about it is you're not just fighting against the other kaiju. You're trying to beat up the military as well to get your victory points. You're throwing the kaiju into buildings and other kaiju. And so this is what I like about that is because you don't really have a skirmisher where you get to throw the other person's player.
Yeah. This I accidentally sold, and I kind of kicked myself for it. Only thing, I just wish they would have put some more expansions out for it. They made the one game. They
Honestly,
have all these other monsters.
I think they will, because on some of the cards you see some of the other monsters like Jaguar.
Exactly, and I mean, you think with all the hype that just came out for Kong versus or Zilla versus Kong, they would have at least come out with an expansion for it. But I don't know. I like it. You're right. It is a great game. I love like all the little tidbits that you got in there because that's something you only see when you get like a Kickstarter game. You're like, holy crap, this was in like a big box store.
Yeah, this is something you can find in Target.
Yeah, no, it was a great game.
And the reason why I say this is like a really good bang for your buck is the minis. Those kaijus are like a rubbery plastic, so they have like a texture and a feel to them that are so nice. Yeah, I really enjoy that.
They even put a wash on them too, so you can see all the detail that's on them. It was amazing because I remember looking at the box. I was like, "Oh, those are okay. I'll have to probably paint them." And then I opened it up and I was like, "Holy crap, that's really good!" Like that's something I saw when I got Mechs versus Minions. Like they did that wash over your characters. Like, oh man, that makes it pop without having to paint it, and it doesn't look like just a lump of gray clay sitting on the table.
No, it's great. I really enjoy this game. I don't play it as much as I should because again, if I'm going to pick a skirmisher, it's going to be unmatched. But you don't get as big of a bang of buck as you do in Godzilla Tokyo Clash with the minis and it's not just that. The city, like the buildings are plastic as well. The tanks are plastic, those are cardboard. But you have a lot of stuff on there and they give you your points and it works. It works so well.
That's
all right, you ready to do your last one?
My last one, the coup de grace, is going to be Mansions of Madness.
How did I know this was going to be your number one?
Honestly, it's a great game. It's this guy right here. And again, it's the similar thing that I had with Chronicles of Crime. What's great about it is they give you this cool base set. So you get all these miniatures, you get all these little figurines in it. But what makes this game that much cooler is the app integration that is with it. You can go in and there's 9 different missions with the base game. And then they came out with small little like one-shot missions for it as well. But you didn't have to buy anything special for it. It was you already had everything. They just replaced tiles and characters, move things around, and it's awesome. I mean, it is a little bit on the expensive side. It's not as expensive as Gloomhaven. So if you're looking at price point wise, I would choose Mansions of Madness and get the second edition because the second edition is where it's at. I know first edition, there are some people that love it and hey, that's great, but I am not a one versus many type person.
Well, that's also because they hate the app integration. A lot of people hate apps in games, and I think this is a game that deserves app integration.
Oh yeah, and it just saves you so much time, but it's so much fun. Like I said, I've even got my wife to play this, and she was like, "That's really fun." She's like, "It was really long, and I don't like long games, but I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun because like the storytelling that's in it is just amazing."
And I think what's nice about the app too is the sound, the app integration. It really gets you thematically like, oh, that noise was spooky. Okay, I don't know. Put it on a Bluetooth speaker, and it's like, yeah, that's a go-to Halloween game right there.
Yep, definitely. This is a game that I always try to play. It's one that I definitely want to get expansions for, but I only have the base game, and I've played it multiple times. I mean, me and Danny here have got our butts kicked several times, especially when the mobs get crazy and they take us out. So,
oh yeah. Especially, what is that one? Is like Innsmouth, where you have like the mob and they have like 70 hit points or something like that. So you just have to keep running from them.
Yeah, there's just you were trying to run, and we were just like 3 like moves away from winning, and we got demolished in the last part because the mob caught us. So
yeah, that hurt a lot. So that's a good pick. I do agree. It's a really good game. It's a good price point-ish, but you get a lot for what you're getting in that game. So my number one game is a game you haven't played and you're kicking yourself because you want it and you almost bought it on Game Nerds and then it sold out. Speaking of John DeClaire, like I did at the top of the category when I was talking about Qubitos, Space Base is my number one game.
It went so fast.
It's probably my best dice chucking game, which is saying something because it's only 2 dice in the game. That's it. It's not like where you're having like 50 dice and throwing them all out there. It's 2 dice. But other than some of the player board production issues, because the player board, you have cubes that track all your money. And if you bump the table, they just slide. They're not recessed or anything. So a lot of people are 3D printing recesses for them, for the cubes don't move around. It is probably one of the best production value games you'll ever have. It's under, I think it's normally $40, but I'll just go with it's under $50 and you get a lot. There's so many choices that you're going to do. And there's so many things that you're going to try to put out there. There's so many things that you can possibly do to win, like get the most points or, put all your money into hopefully rolling that 12 and instantly winning the game. It's fully a game that fully engrosses all the players on each turn because you're taking points as well or getting stuff on other people's turn depending on their dice roll. And what I really, really like about Space Base, and I think is one of the best mechanisms in a game, is that when you're rolling the dice, you could either take it as like a 4 and a 3 get rolled. You could take it as a 7, or you could take it as a 4 and a 3 because if I take this 3, it's going to trigger this 2, and this 4 is going to trigger the 5, which then will trigger the 6 and the 7. And so it'll just keep going forward and it allows you to trigger a lot of stuff. And so you can split the dice how you want.
Yeah, no, I want to play that. And especially after Danny told me he liked this over what is it?
Machikoro?
Machikoro. And he was always a huge fan of Machikoro. That's the reason why I own Machikoro. I played his copy. I was like, man, this is amazing. I like it. He's like, yeah, that's great. It's a fun game. And then he's like, I like Space Base over this. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, Space Base does a lot of the same stuff as Machikoro does, but better. And for those who are fans of the podcast, we made a comparison of Machikoro and Space Base for you. And I just think, for me personally, Space Base is more of a game. Machikoro, there's a lot of downtime. The only time you're really paying attention is if you have red cards on the table. Whereas in Space Base, you're paying attention to every turn because a lot of your cards are going to trigger on other people's rolls.
Yeah, see, I definitely need to pick this one up. This is, every time someone talks about this, I just like what I hear more and more. So
awesome.
the game nerd selling out.
So that has been best bang for your buck, Chits and Giggles discussion topic. I want to once again thank Brys for joining us today. You want to tell us your TikTok again?
My TikTok is at Brys Brastad, BrysBrastad. And honestly, guys, if you've never been on TikTok, there is a lot of gaming stuff on there, whether it be D&D, little skits for games, people doing reviews. As a matter of fact, I know there's one reviewer on there that's even starting this, like you see, on like Dice Towers, and they do a lot of stuff on Twitch as well. But like I said, go check me out. I'm not big, but I try to put a video out at least every day, 2 or 3 videos a day if I can. So, and thanks again for letting me on the show. So,
not a problem. And once again, thank you for being able to be our guest host if one of us can't fill in. And it's really probably going to be helpful coming up soon because I got to get a root canal. So I don't know how well I'm going to be talking. So you might be helping us out more than you think. So,
yeah. What did I sign up for?
Anything on the YouTube and the audio podcast, I'll leave a link to his stuff as well. I want to thank you all for joining us on the Everyday Board Games podcast. And I just want to remind you that you can always follow us on twitch.tv Everyday Board Games, where we usually stream. This time we couldn't because of technical issues, as well as you can find all video re-uploads found on YouTube at Everyday Board Games 2020. And if you like what you see, please give us a subscribe, a like, as well as comment down below because it helps us grow immensely on the platform. You can also find all audio versions on most podcast platforms except for Apple, because for some weird reason they still don't like our photo and won't let us get on there because our photo doesn't match their requirements. That's it. Everybody else takes it. Yeah, what can you do? But you can find us under Everyday Board Games Podcast, which would include Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, and Podbean. You can also get in contact with us at our official email account at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com, as well as our official Twitter account at EBG Podcast. So once again, I've been Daniel.
And I'm Brys.
And I want to thank you all for watching Everyday Board Games Podcast.
Good night, everybody.
And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with future Danny.
Whoa, I already did that. You don't have to worry about that.
No, I know. That's why I did it.
No.
Add this in real quick.
You don't have to worry about that.
Future Danny here. Future Danny here. Gotta explain. So last week, my internet was absolutely destroyed. I don't know what was up with it. My computer was taking 20 minutes to load any little thing. And then by the time it restarted, it was still going slow. It was absolute chaos. I don't know why it was doing all that, but then it went through updates, which lasted an hour. So we were supposed to have a 3-person episode last week that we filmed. Our friend Brys came on, and thankfully he was just able to take my... If you're hearing this, this is a little supplement that we had to film later on, and so Daniel will just be making comments to my Bang for Your Buck board game.
And yeah, and so again,
this?
last week was supposed to be an introduction of Brys helping us out when one of us has to go down because, hey, I got a procedure coming up with a root canal, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to record, but at least we got that help. This way, you people get to still see great content. And so let's go ahead and get started on your Bang for Your Buck list.
Yeah, so I'll just list off mine, and Daniel will make some comments. My first one is a game. It's a pretty small game. It's a 2-player only game, so that's why it's on the bottom of my list. But really, any of the games on my list could be anywhere on the list. I think they're all really quality for it. This is called Holmes, Mycroft, and Sherlock. It's a 2-player set collection game with worker placement. You are placing your workers out on these different spots that every round they increase one more, like in Agricola, which is what I absolutely love about it. It's like mini Agricola, in that another worker placement spot comes out. And what's cool about those is that all those worker placement spots can be used by either of the 2 players, but if both of them use them on the same round, then too bad, they go away for the rest of the game. I think that's an absolutely brilliant mechanism that I wish I could see more. I think it's really fun. It's a good meaty 30 to 40 minutes of a game for 2 players. It's Holmes, Mycroft, and Sherlock.
Yeah, you've talked about this one before. I've never actually played it. I do have to give it a try one of these days. I've heard good things about it, so...
There you go. Yeah, no, I'll bring it over and we'll play it sometime. My number 5, this is kind of my cheat answer, and you'll see why it's the best bang for your buck, is Farkle. Because Farkle is already a pretty decent 6 dice push your luck game, but then flip the page around, and if you know how, like, use the blank side for Farkle, take away 1 die, and then suddenly you have Yahtzee. What a great deal. And you can use, there's a lot of different games that use multiple dice like that. I know, it's kind of my cheat, but really the 6 dice.
It's like saying a deck of cards.
I'm not going to lie that I consider that as well. But because a deck of cards in itself, like, I have a deck of cards right here. There you go. A deck
you
of
always
cards
have a deck of cards right there.
I always have a deck of cards at... It's not a game. If I say, hey, let's play cards, you'll ask, okay, what are we playing? And you play poker. Like, I wouldn't say Mahjong or Dominoes or... like, let's play Moncala.
You just said Farkle and take a dice away and we can play Yahtzee.
Yes, but Farkle itself is a brand game. That's what I'm saying. A deck of cards is not a brand game. You know, you actually can go to a store and buy, and I can say, hey, Walmart employee, can you show me where your copy of Farkle is? And they're like, sir, we need you to leave. We've asked you this before. And I'm like, no, the serious, can you show us where Farkle is? it's a dice game. And they're like, oh, come follow us over here. There's your copy of Farkle. They're not going to say, here's 6 dice, figure it out. It's an actual branded game. That's why I justified it.
Well, for this matter, you could have said LCR.
Yeah, for that same reason, like Hairs too. But I just think Farkle just, it works more. So, your thoughts?
Actually, I've never played Farkle, so I can't give to. Again, it's another game I haven't played. I've seen it in stores. I've also seen Tinsy, and I looked at it and go, "Huh, dice," and walked away.
Yep. Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, Tenzi is just awful. That's really, you made the right choice. Friends don't let friends play Tenzi. All right. My next one is also a dice game. And this was the one I picked out of all of the games that this company publishes. Daniel, can you try and guess what the game is?
Okay, this is your favorite game out of all the games?
Really, any game from... No, every game that this publisher publishes is all great bang for your buck. But this is their small dice game that I think just really personifies it.
That's saying something, because if it's the company I think it is Game Right. I'm trying to think it's not Game Right.
It's not Game Right.
What company is it then?
So I'll put it this way. This game, I'll tell you the game or the company in a minute, but this game has 6 custom dice. It has 4 player boards, 24 custom Bakelite tokens, a pawn, and 13 engraved circular tokens for gold. And it's a $10 game. That is incredible deal for it.
Yeah, I have no clue. Who's the company?
You're hurting. Buccaneer Bones by Watzelpogue.
Oh,
so
I played that once, so I barely remember it.
Well, but I think that they made Echidna Shuffle is like a $30 game, and it has toy factor beyond most. You know,
I would have said that before Buccaneer Bones.
Right? You have Switching Tracks, which is an amazing little pick up and deliver game, which I need to show you one of these days. Oh, you have Fistful of Penguins, which have like acrylic penguin-shaped meeples like in it, and that's only like a $15 game. Their deals are really good quality, and their games are always really fun. So I highly, 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 highly suggest bang for your buck, Buccaneer Bones, $10 dice game.
Not bad. I've only played this once. I vaguely remember it, so I can't give too much judgment on it. But from what you're saying and everything that comes in with it, yeah, that's a big, good bang for your buck.
Yeah, it's a lot of components for a good deal. All right, my next one is a game that I know you've played a lot. And I know our friend Brys has played a lot. And I know what he would say as soon as I said it. But it is Onirim.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. It's the best bathroom game out there.
Yeah, so Onirim is a single-player card game. It's a solitaire. There is a variant for 2 players as well that it's included. But the only reason why I think it makes the list, and why it's not number 1, is because it is a 1-player only game. It's not the cheapest card game. It's I think $25 new is what the MSRP is. But what it comes with is a really good solid game that you're going to be playing a lot. You can also play the app, which is technically free, or it's not technically free. It is free for the app. All right. So now it's back. I don't know where it cut off, but let's talk about Onirim. The reason why it's not number 1, because I strongly consider this as my best bang for your buck game. It's a $25 card game, which is kind of expensive, and it only plays 1 player. But what you do get, though...
Well, technically you could play 2.
Yeah, there's the 2-player variant, right? So it's 1 or 2 players, but really it's intended as a 1-player.
Yeah.
But what makes it so good for what it is there is 7 module mini expansions in the base game, and each of them do something completely different. It's a big, big change, and you can mix and match all 7 of them. So if you wanted to go crazy, you could do all 7 at once. I like playing with about 2 or 3 at a time, depending on which ones I'm playing with. But yeah, and then the app is free. If you want to download a couple expansions for it, it's like a couple bucks. But bang for your buck is really solid there.
Yeah, honestly, if you guys want the physical copy, I don't disagree with you at all. I prefer the app. I had a chance to buy Onirim. I decided to get some expansions for games I already own instead. As much as I like Onirim, it's just so much easier for me to use the app. I know it comes with like the 7 expansions in the box itself. So, I mean, for $25, that's not bad. You get 1 base game and 7 expansions. So, but in all honesty, yeah, if you want the physical copy and if that's your thing to play solo, like me, my solo game is my card games, Arkham Horror LCG, Marvel's Champion, that sort of thing. But on Nyram, if I had a chance to get it again, I might pull the trigger.
God, can you imagine if they had Onirim Legacy?
That would be intriguing to be a legacy game solo.
Yeah, I'm sure he would come up with some amazing stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
Second to last one, my number 2 is also technically a cheat, but let me explain again. It's the Pyramid Arcade from Looney Labs. Now let me tell you why.
502 on the list.
Huh?
Or 504. It's like putting 504 on the list.
Nope. Let me tell you why this isn't a cheat, or why I qualified it. Because I like 504 would be on the list if the games were decent. Like, I mean,
yeah, there's like
I played
what,
them,
2 or 3 decent games on there.
Yeah, probably out of all 504, there's only a few that are okay. But and I'm guessing at that. I did enjoy the times I played it, but I didn't feel like I wanted to go back. Pyramid Arcade though, what Looney Labs did is they made a whole series of games based on the pyramids over a number of decades, right? They already had the games established, and then they realized, wow, we have like 30 games for this pyramid art for the pyramids that we can use just different components in, and then why not just combine it all so you don't have to buy a new set of pyramids for every single game? Because each one of those, $20, 30 games, that's $600. This is a $70 board game, but it has a deck of cards. It has all sorts of beautiful pyramid pieces. It has all the components for all the boards. There's area control games, there's dexterity games, there's strategy games, there's logic games. It's brilliant. And it has some, and what makes it stand out is stuff like Martian Chess. Martian Chess is a brilliant game. I love that game. I bought another copy of it because I wanted it, because of how smart that pyramid game is. And I've played about half of them, and every single one of them I've had a lot of fun with. They don't just pick games just for filler. They actually put a lot of thought into which games that they produce for that, and then it's enjoyable. And that's why I justify it being on my list. Is yes, it's a bit expensive, but all of the games are solid. And I could have picked something like Peace Pack, right? That has hundreds of games that people have made, but there's no filter there. It's just generic components that people have made a bunch of games. Hey, you'll probably get some good ones, just like 504. But no, Pyramid Arcade, there's very few of them that I really did, or that I didn't enjoy. And the ones that I didn't enjoy, it's like I enjoy those less than the brilliant ones. So that's my number 2, Pyramid Arcade.
Honestly, I can't disagree with you on this one because I've never played it. Sounds interesting. I'm just not a big fan of like abstract style games, so I want to see how I play this because, again, I'm not a huge fan of abstracts, but it's a good pick. It's an interesting pick. From what I understand, you picked the better one of the mini games in one box idea.
Yes, that's the only one that I think justifies it. And I mean, full honesty, like I have a lot of different. Oh, like here's a bunch of pieces. You can play a bunch of games with it. And then most of them are like, okay, but they're not that great. They were like the pieces were made to be generic to the point where people can do that. And when you have a bunch of mediocre games, it's not worth your while. These were already established games long before they were put into a collection.
Sounds good.
That's my reason. Yeah.
All right, let's hear what your number 1 is.
All right, so my number 1 is definitely, I don't think you can argue with it. I mean, I'm sure you will, but I don't think you should, because it is one of the best games for $20 for 2 to 4 players. Comes in a small box of cards, and it's absolutely brilliant for all 2 to 4 players. It originally started, the original version of it was a 2-player only game for like $15. Then they expanded it with enough cards to be a 2 to 4 player game. Did you figure it out?
Yeah, it's
What is
yeah, for some reason Space Base is popping in my head, but it's not. It's a sci-fi one. I'm trying to think Star Realms.
Close. I picked Hero Realms because the base game originally came with the 2 to 4 players games. But yes, Star Realms and Hero Realms. Oh my god, there's so much game in there. It's a good, solid, streamlined deck building game. It's really fun. The card row and the constant changing of the cards make it continuously interesting and variable every time you play it. And it's really inexpensive. A $20 box like that big is like nothing for an experience like that. So,
and just to let everybody know, it's now Wise Wizard Games.
Wise Wizard Games. Yep, that's
but
right.
Yeah.
So Hero Realms from Wise Wizard Games, best bang for your buck, hands down.
I can't disagree with you on that. I didn't make my list. I just haven't played it in such a long time. Once I went through the first campaign, I was like, I played enough of this. I'm good. I know they came out with a new one, but I was just like, I'm good. It was fun. I enjoyed it. There's other deck builders that I like, but I cannot disagree with you about the bang for your buck on this one. It is phenomenal. $20 and you get a 4-player game. That's and then for $40, you get the base game and you buy the campaign. You got now a campaign game for $40.
Yeah, and one that you can continue playing.
Yeah,
and try different ways and new variable stuff. Yeah, super worth it. I have everything for Hero Realms, and I am proud of that fact. Danny approves. So
yeah, I just got rid of my Hero Realms.
Yeah, I don't blame you, but it's fine. I mean, I do blame you.
Hey, I got one shelf that I'm allowed to keep a lot of games on. Therefore, I have to make space for all the new games that are coming in. Or the fact that I got the new Terraforming Mars big box that takes the space of like 4 games on its own.
Now the question is, will it be worth it? Like 5 years down the road, will that big behemoth box be worth taking up that much room?
Yeah, I enjoy Terraforming Mars that much. Just the base game alone, I would be fine with. But all the expansions do things differently, and I enjoy them.
But do you like it 5 times as much as any other game? Because that's 5 games you're getting rid of.
Yes. I can actually get that to the table a lot more than some of the games I've sold. So,
no, that's true. That's true. We'll go into that. I think on the next episode we'll talk about that.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good. Just to let everybody know, this is going to be cut in at the end. So when you're listening to it, you'll hear it at the end after I do all the spiel about leaving. So just a little bonus clip for everybody.
Cool. Thank you for listening.
Have a good one.